This video is going to be just a very quick tip about fixing snapping errors that may occur whenever you are working with the Retopo tools in 3D Coat. As you can see here, I have a stray vertice that has dipped beneath the surface of the voxel object, and I want to show how you can quickly fix that. But before I get started, I just want to mention when it typically occurs. If you have already retopologized and you make some changes after the fact to your voxel object, and you come back and try to snap it, then you may find snapping errors on one or more parts of the model. One of the best ways to avoid this is if you see snapping errors that's going to cause quite a bit of cleanup, then what you may do is hit Ctrl-Z to undo before the point where you snapped. Then you can go in with the brush tool and just tweak the mesh just a little bit with auto snap checked, and you can also change the snapping type from outer surface to closest along normal. In this case, outer surface is probably best. That gives you local control in areas where it might be somewhat problematic, and that typically occurs wherever you have a lot of vertices in the same proximity. For example, right in the corners of a character's lips, or maybe the eyelids. Anywhere you have a sharp angle, that typically has quite a few vertices competing for the same spot, essentially. So let's go ahead and fix this real quick. The first thing you want to do is turn auto snapping off so that it's not working against me as I make these changes. I'm also going to hide the underlying voxel object. You may notice there is a slight amount of transparency, so I can see the stray vertex once the voxel object is hidden. Or you can hover over the problem area and see a highlight. So let's go to the select tool, and I'm going to choose vertices, or better yet, let's go faces and use my bracket keys to reduce my brush size, just like I would in Photoshop. So I can select that one, and I think that will do it. Now let's go to vertices. One way we could do this is to select that particular vertex and use the transform tool. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Let me switch to a freeform lasso. And I'm going to hold down the control key to deselect these vertices. The only one that's left is this one. And I can use the Gizmo to move it with some level of precision, but this inner ring here allows me to move it in screen space. So click on it when it's highlighted, and now I can move it. I'm using a 3D connection device that allows me to work as I'm navigating, so I can just rotate and place it again. Now what I can do is unhide the object underneath, and we'll turn auto snapping back on, and I can snap it locally rather than snapping the entire mesh. I can go back in, and I'm going to hold down the shift key. You'll see that green profile. As I right click and drag up and down, it'll increase or decrease the smoothing effect. Sometimes you want it to be very slight. And now it not only smooths, but it snaps at the same time to the surface. So that's one way to go about it. Let me undo a few times. Okay. So we'll go back to the way that we started with, and that is using faces. Reduce my brush size, select that polygon, and click on that one. I can switch to vertices. Let's turn auto snap off and hide the voxel object. So the quickest way I think to go about it is, again, just to select the vertices in that area, click relax as many times as you need, and they seem to move back into place rather easily. Again, I can unhide the underlying voxel object check auto snap. This time, as opposed to using the brush, I can go ahead and snap the selected. And that's it, really. Just select the vertices, relax it a little bit with auto snap turned off, and you're good to go. Okay, so that's a quick look at fixing snapping issues in 3D Code's Retopology workspace.